The idealists consider his name as a synonym of an immoral politician, and the realists call him the teacher of outstanding historic figures. Tyrants cynically covered their evil deeds with his famous phrase, "Politics doesn't know moral," though they didn't even realize the true meaning of the words Niccolo Machiavelli said. Niccol di Bernardo Machiavelli was born in Florence on the 3rd of May, 1469. He inherited his practical wit and the interest in social sciences from his father, a lawyer called Bernardo, and he got his strong will and perseverance in realizing an aim from his mother, Bartolomea, who was a zealous Catholic. Niccolo left public school where he had a special preference for Latin. His parents couldn't pay for his further studies at the university. That is why the boy chose self-education. The political works on ancient classics became his handbooks for the whole life, and Machiavelli considered ancient Rome to be the model of an ideal state. At the age of 25, Niccolo became a lawyer at his father's office, and 4 years later, he began active political work. Holding the position of the secretary in the chancery of Florence, Machiavelli proved himself to be such a good worker that soon he was given the powers of a representative of the Florentine Republic, responsible for foreign and military affairs. The career of the ambitious young politician progressed brilliantly. For 14 years, Machiavelli went on missions to many Italian states, France and Germany, was an intensive correspondent, and made reports on the situation in Italy and Europe. Meanwhile, the King of France, Louis XII, who tried to enhance his riches, began war against the Italian states. And when at the beginning of 1500, Florence's liberty was in danger, Niccolo was sent to negotiate with the French. It is amazing, but Machiavelli spoke to the whole French delegation alone, and he negotiated perfectly and was able to save the independence of his native Florence. The diplomatic experience and the works of ancient Roman orators he studied gave Machiavelli a lot of information that enabled him to work out his own political conceptions. He thought that the Vatican used the dissemination of Christianity to cover its territorial interests and condemned the display of mercenarianness in politics. For all this, Machiavelli only cared about the welfare of his motherland and was absolutely unselfish. In 1502, Machiavelli visited the Duke Cesare Borgia, who was trying to unite the separate regions of Italy under his dominion. Machiavelli admired the results of Borgia's hard-edged politics, and the Duke's aim was not to safeguard his personal interests, but the common welfare of the free, united Italy. Machiavelli saw the main hope of this country's prosperity in the strong power of a ruler. He thought that it was permissible to waive the norms of the religious morals in order to strengthen the state. Perhaps this is why the famous phrase, "the aim justifies the means," is ascribed to Machiavelli, but as a matter of fact, it was the motto of the Jesuits and has something in common with the aphorism of the Roman poet Avud, "the result justifies the action." Describing the political reality of his time, Machiavelli stated, "The murder of citizens, betrayal, treachery, cruelty, and impiousness can't be called prowess." But he himself had to feel the ungratefulness of the rulers. When in 1512, Medici returned to power in Florence, Machiavelli was banished from his native city, alleging him to be a supporter of the Republican movement. A year later, the 44-year-old diplomat was suspected to have conspired against the new power, and he was lashed. He was going to be executed, but a miracle took place. The amnesty announced when Giovanni Medici was elected the new pope saved him from the gibbet. The lashing insulted Machiavelli deeply because he had served his motherland unselfishly for many years. He decided to leave politics forever and devote himself to literature. Living in exile in his estate San Cassiano for 14 years, Machiavelli wrote on political history, philosophy, and the art of war, and worked on the history of Florence, which came to many volumes. Hoping to ingratiate himself with the rulers and perhaps forgetting the insult he bore, Machiavelli dedicated his treatise, The Prince, to the tyrant Lorenzo Medici. This book can be considered as a manual for any ruler. Using lots of historic examples, Machiavelli exposed the technology of tyranny and showed how to win the love and respect of the crowd. A ruler should combine the cunning of a fox and the strength of a lion. When in 1527, the Republic was restored in Florence, the 58-year-old Machiavelli decided to serve his native town again. But the big council of the Republic turned him down as a chancellor. Machiavelli couldn't survive disgrace and died on the 21st of June, 1527. He was buried in the church of Santa Croce beside the tombs of Michelangelo and Galileo. Taking the fall of his contemporaries' morals hard, Niccolo Machiavelli didn't believe that morally stable and honest people would appear in politics in his time. But the wise Machiavelli stated that people are always bad until the necessity makes them be kind, and a virtuous man has to die among lots of people who are not virtuous. Unfortunately, these words are still true nowadays.